Hi, welcome to another Cardboard Tuesday. I'm Ferdinand, the Cardboard Stacker. It's November 3rd, and let's start off with no announcements. I have no announcements this week, so let's go ahead and move on to the question of the week. So, this question of the week is, where do you play? For me, I play usually, there's three main places I play. The first being is in this game room, my game room over here in my house. This is probably the most, I guess, the more concentrated group of, usually we play more the heavier stuff here. For the game club at my university, Cal State Fullerton, it's more people. That's the second place I would say I mostly play at. Usually we play more of the lighter stuff there. Sometimes when the crowd gets a little lower, especially during the year, we actually play more longer games and more complex games. And third, the place I usually play games at is which I just recently got into is at a restaurant, and this is hosted by Board of Gamers. They usually play more of the recent games that get come out. So over there, we usually play more of the designer games than other of the smaller games that people used to play at the university. So I'd like to hear from you from this question. So where do you play? Do you play at your house, at a friend's house? Do you play at at your school, or do you play at somewhere else, or a gaming store? And the Kickstarter for this week is Islebound. This is by Ryan Lucat of Red Raven Game. And if you don't know about Ryan Lucat, he makes the whole game. So the design of it, the art, and he even published it. So what we call like a renaissance man of the gaming industry. So Islebound is a game about going to islands and conquering them, or making friendships with them, and you're trying to do is get the most renown. This plays up to 2 to 4 players, and it's basically a game where you go to like these island towns and you're trying to either conquer them, or you're trying to make friendships with them and get renown that way, or collect their actions when they do. So, and the main thing you want to do is to get points called renown, and the more renown you get, at the end you win with the most renown. And so to win this game, you want to get a lot of renown, and there's ways to get it. You can conquer towns, you can collect treasure. It looks like to be more of like an area control game. It looks like, I haven't played it yet, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's kind of between City of Iron and Empires of Void. So you get more of that conquering vibe from Empires of the Void, while you get some of the Euroness from City of Iron. And there's many ways to go about the game. So you could, as I said, befriend the towns with diplomacy, or you can conquer them, just take it full force. You can also take other players' towns as well. The game is this project's asking for 1,500. It is ready funded for about over 3,200, and it ends on November 23rd. And I think why this game is actually interesting to me is because it reminds me a little bit of Ursula Le Guin's The Wizard from Earthsea. So the game takes place in an archipelago, and you're trying to do is, well, it's not like in the ties of the book. I think the world reminds me of it. So in the book, it's about a wizard who goes to school, but he doesn't really like it. But he's trying to find his own way in this world because he has magic within him. But this game's about conquering, but it has a little bit of fantasy elements in it, I think. But it's mainly the place is taking on an archipelago. And so let's go through the games I played this week. So on Friday, we have our Halloween party at the school. So the first game I played is Crows. And Crows is a simple family-style game where what you want to do is place your shiny objects on these tiles, and you want crows to go ahead and pick it up by moving through them. There's ways to kind of like mitigate that. Like, you're trying to get as many crows onto your tile, but players also want to get their crows and may block you with putting trash cans where the crows will actually stop and eat there, or you can they may have priority on shiny objects like that. It's an okay game. Kind of fairly enjoyed it. I need to try this again. It was my first time playing, but there was like a kind of more like a runaway lead, I guess, on it. And of course turns kind of is important for the game, even though the first player marker switches over the character over players, but it's not too bad. But I need to try this game again. So the next game I played was Ascension, which is actually a custom-made version using Pokemon cards from the Pokemon trading card game. This is a custom edition where you're trying to collect Pokemon. You're trying to put Pokemon in your Pokédex. You try to put Pokemon in your deck, what I would call bench. There's also a way to actually punch Team Rocket, so you can get points for that. A very unusual style game. It's not totally like a reskin theme of Ascension. You actually are using Pokemon cards. So you're trying to do is either buy Pokemon cards to put in your Pokédex, or you're trying to use your Pokemon in your deck and score Pokemons by knocking them out. So if you score Pokemon, that's how many points you get. So kind of playing in the same style of Ascension where there's points laid out. You try to grab all the points as you can. You can also get points by punching Team Rocket. They're kind of like the cultists of the game. Very unusual because you're using the powers, the actual powers of the damage of the Pokemon cards to do that. And there's like for coin flipping, you can do more than one damage against it. Like if you flip heads, you may do more damage or something like that. I would say it's like a more like streamlined version of Ascension. You can basically play with like almost any Pokemon cards. There's also Japanese cards in there, kind of like they're called fancy Pokemon, where you just basically score points on it. But unusual take on it. Pretty good. But I would still prefer just the Ascension game better because it's a bit more attuned to its mechanics than Pokemon. But anyway, still quite enjoyed it. The next game was Wizwar. This is my first time playing this. This is a game by Fantasy Flight. I didn't like the game as much. It's kind of played like a free for all style where a wizard needs to either collect another wizard's up to 2 wizard's treasures, or kill 2 wizards for that. But kind of fell flat for me. I didn't like it. The turns took way long than they needed to be. The cards a little bit wordy as for kind of like the style of the game, but still I would try this another time because I was still getting used to the rules, but a little flat at that time, but need to play this again. And my favorite game of the night was the last game I played, called Magic Kitchen, which is a game like Jungle Speed where you put cards down and try to match cards and grab the stuff in the middle. Unlike Jungle Speed, there is many different items in the middle where you have to grab them if they are the matching cards. So the game is played where you everyone flips card one at a time until there's a match. The thing is, the match has to match a color and a vegetable item. So the story is that these magic kids in this academy bleach all the vegetables, and your fairy's trying to put color back into the vegetables. And when cards are flipped, there either is going to be a vegetable or there's going to be a die for the vegetables. There's also other cards like jinxes, or I guess hexes, where you have to make really weird gestures like this or like this or like this. But what makes this really great game? What's make the game great is like everyone's concentrated trying to figure out if the colors and the right vegetables match. And then that realization, and everyone just go ahead and grabs. And the other fun thing about the game is that all the vegetables are round. So if one person tries to get it, all the vegetables scatter, and chaos ensues. And then if you're trying to grab that little piece, that little mushroom, the mushroom is just too small. It just flies all over the place if you're trying to get it as fast as you can. But there's some like instances where like everyone grabs it, and then somehow I kind of grabbed it very slowly, and because all the stuff scatters around. So great game. I love to play this. I love to own a copy of this too. So on Saturday and Sunday, I continue my play of Time Stories. I beat the game on Saturday and play with another group on Sunday. Saturday was a 3-player game, and a 4-player game was on Sunday. The 3-player game kind of took a little longer, and we took more time with it, while the game on Sunday, they kind of like took their time carefully, even though they took less time to beat it. It's kind of unusual because in the last game, the Silent Story, the game I played with 3 players actually took much shorter than the one I played with 4 players. In this case, in the Marcy case, which is the expansion I played this last past week, the 4-player game actually took a shorter time. They were actually more careful, but they were still a bit more enthralled with the story than the people I played with a 3-player game. So I think the expansion is just as good as the one that came in the game. I tend to like a little bit more of the asylum scenario than the Marcy case. The Marcy case is very interesting as well and has those twists and turns. And if you're gonna play it, you have to please play it because there's some really nice twists in that game. And with that, so we beat the game, and I can't wait to play the next one, which is gonna come out, I believe, next month. So on Monday, I played a few games with the Board Unit Gamers, just two. The first game was the Isle of Skye. This is a Carcassonne like tile placing game where basically what I like about this game a lot, even though you're kind of playing your little game of Carcassonne by yourself, is that you have to buy tiles and you also have to score tiles. But the scoring here for this game is very, very cool. The first thing what the game does is that there's many different scoring conditions you can get in the game, and each scoring takes place after each round. There are 4 different types of scoring you can get, and they're randomly chosen from a bigger pile, about I think like 12 or 14 cards. But you get 4 of them laid out, and then for each round they may choose a couple of those tiles in which the score is going to be based on that round. So it might be the first one and the second one, or then the next one will be the second one and the third one, or something like that. So very, very cool game, and I want to play it more, and I actually want to own this game because it has a good replay value on it. So the game I play with has like sheep. You need to do geographical kind of like completion of the features, and building towers for that. We had a 3-way tie, and I got second place because the person kind of really beat me on money. So it's just a matter of trying to look at the tiles that you have and the tiles that everyone has. So it's a little thinky and a little AP, but still a very good game. And the last game I played that week is Homesteaders. This was the first edition. This is by Tasty Minstrel Games. This is like a very early edition. Wasn't a very good production, unfortunately, but the game was very interesting. It's played in a set number of rounds where you have some worker placement and there's some auctionings. The auction works very similar to Vegas Showdown or Almond Ray, where you put your bid token on the place, then another person may overbid that or go to a different place to bid. But what I like about the game is like mostly all the things you do is mainly good, but if you work hard to make an engine, it really pays off. So you can go here and there, but if you really know what you're doing and trying to get all those points and how you work with your tiles and building it, it really pays off. And I do believe that if you don't work that way, it's going to have a lot of consequences, and it's very hard to catch up because of the auction style of the game. I think there's a lot of stuff I like about it, and there's some a lot of stuff I didn't like about it. Especially, I think the auction mechanic is a little I already had 2 games that kind of play the same way like that. So a third game is like it's not like new or innovative anymore. But the way how the tiles work in the game about making the items you need, the items in the game they're very hard to achieve or to acquire. And like for example, like getting cows, or you need to build stuff like a building in which you need another building to build it because they need stuff, and you have to like do trading and stuff. The points are very calculated throughout the game. So if you trade, you get a point. If you build a building, you get points, and there's like end game scoring, you get points. So there's a lot of points available to get. But need to try this again. I don't know if there's another edition to this game, but I want to see if there is, and I would like to try that version because the person who was teaching us didn't like the rulebook that much, but need to try this game again. So that's it for this Cardboard Tuesday. So you find this video helpful or entertaining, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. Visit our Patreon page. Follow us on Twitter and keep on stacking games.